Alright everyone, thanks for joining me in another video here for SyllaFX. So, in this video we are doing the market analysis, the recap for the Aussie dollar for last week. And that is the week ending October the 14th of 2022. So earlier we've already covered the euro dollar and we did the dollar yen. So now let's go ahead and talk about AUDUSD, the Aussie dollar. So, in last week here, this is the movement of the price action that we had going on. We're currently looking at the 4-hour chart on TradingView, and this horizontal line represents the start of the week on Sunday the 9th. So the first thing we're going to do, of course, as we're starting off the 4-hour chart, we are going to go ahead and mark up our support and resistance level. Now these are the main levels that we want to be aware of based on the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart. So we're going to take a look at that and see where we can mark up our levels for that first before we move down into lower time frames. Alright, so now of course we don't know any of this as of yet if we're just doing a recap and see what trades we could have took last week. So anything from the left of this horizontal line and back is valid to look at. So let's see what we got going on. So we got a pretty good level here that I think we can go ahead and mark up as a resistance level. And this major rejection here is, let's see, maybe here. We'll go with this one here as the low during that time frame. Now as far as right now, I believe we can actually use this. Oh, that didn't actually get marked here. Let me mark that low here. So as of right now, these are the two support and resistance level on the 4-hour chart that we can utilize. Because again, we don't know anything past this point here. So bounce here, stayed above the level, bounced here, and bounced here again. So as far as that's right now, that's what we have available to us. So we'll jump down to the 1-hour chart and see what we've got. So to the left of the horizontal line, we got a little action going in between these two levels. As of right now, there's not really anything else clear that I could really see that's useful. We've got a little bit of a rejection here, so we might go ahead and mark that up just to be aware of this temporary level. We'll mark that all the way across. Alright, so as of now, not anything else major that I could really utilize to see what would be available to us for trade last week. So now anytime I do take trades, it's going to be off of the 15-minute time frame. Sometimes I'll jump down to the 5-minute just to see what's going on a little bit further, if there's a lot of rejection going on or not. But we are going to work with the time frame 15 minutes for now. So starting at this point here, now before we go to the actual analysis for the week after October the 9th, last Sunday, and the market opened, if you guys are interested in learning how to trade based on my technical analysis, as you can see, I don't use any indicators, just a basic price on the chart and marking up the major support and resistance level. I do trade support and resistance, supply and demand, and trend trading. All of that, if you are interested in learning about that, the course is actually available on SyllaFX.com, as well as you can join the student group. It is a Discord-based community where I will have live analysis for my students. You're welcome to join and ask, have a Q&A session, analyze different currency pairs, as well as we'll have live trading sessions on every Friday during the New York session. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely check out the SyllaFX course and the community on SyllaFX.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and get your notifications for when new content is uploaded. So let's jump right into it here. So it is after October the 9th here. Market opens. So let's see what we got going on and what we could potentially trade. So from what we can see here, before the market opened, price did drop below the support level here and became a resistance. So we got a little bit of rejection here, came all the way back up and kind of rejected that area but came back below it. So it's still holding good as a support, or yeah, as a resistance level at this point. So we're still on the 15-minute chart. So let's see what we have going on and see if there's any valid trades we could have taken. So we have a low of the session here we're going to go ahead and mark up. Now this is getting marked up because, as you can see, we do have price break through it pretty easily here. So potentially, if we had price come back up to test that break, we could take a sell position at that moment. Now, as you can tell, we don't actually get that. Price doesn't come all the way back up into that zone, so we don't have a sell position to actually jump into. So we let price do what it needs to do. Let's see what happens. Okay, all the way in here. Now we're still pretty much down trading. We're below the resistance level. We broke another level here for another low here, and another low here. Now what I find interesting is this long or this fast movement, a sell-off that happens in this area here. So now we're still not at a support level or a resistance level, at least on the major time frames. But what I'm looking at is potential supply zones being established at this point. So we got a little bit of a hesitation here going on. So what I'm going to do is mark this up as a supply level. Right up here to about here. We'll go ahead and extend that out, because as of right now, we don't really know what's happening here, right? So price sells off pretty quickly here. So what I'm planning on doing is, since I have my supply level marked up, I'm waiting for price to come back up and actually reject that zone. And then I'm going to look for a sell position as long as I see the rejections to indicate we're going to continue back down. So what I have here, price does come all the way back up and goes well into the zone, and we have that nice rejection window, rejection candle on the 15-minute chart. So this is where I'm looking for a sell position. So this is one that I would have actually taken. So right after this rejection and the close of that candle, we'll go ahead and mark a sell position here. And stop loss, I'm going to say this every video, always use a stop loss. Don't trade without it. My trading rules require stop losses to be in place. So if you do want to learn how to trade, or you want to follow my techniques and rules and strategies that I implement, stop losses are required. So we're going to go ahead and put this at the top of that wick and see how much that is. So we got about 8 pips. So give it plenty of room. I'm going to go ahead and move it up to right at the top of that supply zone. So we have about 12 pips of to work around with for the stop loss. So 1 to 2 ratios that I usually go with, or 1 to 3s depending on how price is moving. We're going to aim for 24 pips on this one here. So that happens to be almost at the bottom of this low that we had before, right over here. So what happens? Now price does start to come into our direction at first, and then you can see we get a little bit of hesitation. Price comes right back into that zone, and then it doesn't really reject very well to really stay in the trade. But once I enter the trade, I'm keeping it there and letting it ride out. If it goes my way, great. If it doesn't, oh well. So my stop losses are pretty tight, but as you can tell, price does come all the way back up, and we actually get hit on the stop loss. So this is a losing trade that I would have taken on the Aussie dollar last week. So we're going to go ahead and mark this one here and end it there. A loss of 12 pips. Alright, so we'll go ahead and keep going and see what we had happen. Price is in this area. We do have another sell-off here. So, and what I mean by sell-offs, now I don't go into a lot of details when I explain the support and resistance or supply and demand as I see it happen. This is all stuff that I teach in the course and to my students in the community. So I'm just going to kind of just go through it and mark it up and see how it works, show you guys how it works, and see if that's something you guys would like to actually learn about. So we got a lot of sell-off here. Again, the previous zone that we had that we got stopped out before, price comes back up into it, rejects it, and then we sell off pretty fast and break this level here. This is a clear indication for me that I have a supply level right up here again. So all the way across, right about there. So we're still in the downtrend because we have lower lows being established here, and then lower highs being established here. So if we got that, we got our, this is our zone that we're looking for an entry position. So price sells off here and slowly makes its way back up into that zone. So right up here, it's not really clear indication that it's rejecting. So I would wait a little bit for that before I actually take my sell position. And then once I get to about here, I get a couple of nice little rejections in the zone, right at the edge of the zone. For me, this is a valid trade. I would take this sell position there at the close of this candle. Now, stop loss. Always use a stop loss. I'm going to position that at the top of these wicks, which we're about 10 pips or so. So give it a little breathing room. We're going to move it up to, let's give it about 13 pips on this one here. So it's in the zone, but it's above the last wicks that the highs that it created while it was in the zone. So what happens here? 1 to 2 risk reward ratio, 13 pip stop loss means we're aiming for at least 26 pips. So we're going to go ahead and move this up a little bit here to about 26. And there we have it. So it does take a while to happen, and this is probably, it looks like Monday after New York session, so price just kind of plays around a little bit like it always does at that time. But we're already in a trade, and we're just going to hold it. Once the trade is made, we're in a position. I set my stop losses, and I set my take profits, and I'll leave it alone. I don't mess with it. If I get tapped out, I get tapped out. If it comes my way and I win and take my take profit, then great. And as you can see here, as price just kind of plays around a little bit here, it comes back into that zone a little bit. So we're still in the negatives at this point, and then it starts to just plummet down, and we hit our take profit. So we have a winner here. So 26 pips in our books. So let's move forward, see what we got going on. Lows are broken here by this movement. We got a new low here. Nothing really clear that I would take here. So we just wait and see what happens. Price continues to make new lows. Great. So now I don't see the fast movement that I would be looking for to have another zone set up for me to take another sell. This is just a couple of bars that move down. It's not very steep, so I'm not going to mark a supply zone at this area here. Just wait and see what price does. Goes back up a little bit, comes back and rejects here. A nice rejection here. So this is a clear indication that we're looking for a buy. Now, unfortunately for me, this doesn't fit into my trading rules just yet. So this is not a major level, but because we have a low here and it rejects the same low, we're indicating we're possibly going to be moving up here and reversing. Let's wait until we get a higher high being created based off of this movement. And after this long rejection, I'm going to go ahead and mark this as the low. Move it all the way across. So we got this nice rejection that happens there, and then here are our buyers. They're just coming in to the market and breaking the previous high. So now I have the bias that price is going to start moving up. So what do? I'm not at a support level or a major level that I would typically trade the rejections off of, but I see a demand level being created here. So what I'm going to do is mark the demand level in which I'm going to look for my buys. Right there to about right there. Go ahead and extend that out. Now this is right above the bottom that we had set up here. I think I accidentally added an alert. Let's go ahead and remove that. There we go. Alright, so rejection here. A lot of buyers come in and push the price above and break this high, create a new high, right? So I have my demand zone set up here. What I'm waiting for is for price to come back down into that zone and look for a rejection. And as long as I get that rejection, I'm going for a buy. So price does exactly that. Comes all the way down, pokes right into my demand zone, and a nice rejection. So what I'm going to do is take a buy position here. Would go ahead and I wouldn't even wait until the close of that candle because we have the rejection is already happening. We're already close to the end of that 15-minute period. So right there is where my buy position would be. And of course, again, stop loss. Stop loss at the bottom of the wick for the rejection, which is about 8 to 9 pips. And for me, give it a little bit of breathing room. I'm going to give it about 12 pips to work with. Mark that there. 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. I'm aiming for 24 pips. Now, I have plenty of room because the next high, I believe is going to be broken up here. So I could go for a 1 to 3, and that would give me about the 36 pips that I'm looking for. So either way, whether if I would have went for the 24, as you can tell, this would have been a winner. But if I'm aiming for the high here from the previous high from after we broke here and created this one, this is where I should be aiming for on a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. So 36 pips, mark that there. And market is moving. It has a lot of volume going on right now, so this is a perfect time to take a 1 to 3 ratio. So stop loss at 12, take profit at 36. As you can tell, we go up and we hit our take profit. We have a winner. So now let's see what the market does. It breaks the previous high here, goes all the way up here, and we have a new high, right? So based on trend trading, I'm going to look at this as a lot of pretty much headway before we get to the next support resistance level, the major resistance level at the top here. So what I will do is mark this up, because I'm looking for another entry position to ride this trade all the way up to the resistance level at the top. So this is the entry point that I'm aiming for here. So price breaks above it, I set up my entry point here. If price comes back down to test it, now this is very important, price needs to test that level for me to take a buy. So as you can see, we go all the way up here, and then price comes all the way back down into that zone. The unfortunate thing is we don't get the rejection, so we don't take a buy. Luckily, since we didn't get the rejection, price continued to just plummet all the way back down to that demand level, which is good for me, because as long as I didn't get that signal of rejection, I'm not in a trade for a buy, and I would have lost this trade. That's why it's important to be patient, let the trade actually play out, and make sure you get your confirmation of the rejection that price wants to continue back up. So we don't get that, we don't buy, we don't lose a trade. We let the price market do what it needs to do. It goes all the way back down to the demand zone. Now here, I don't take this trade again, even though it's the demand zone, because we have such a long sell-off going on here, very strong sell-off. So I don't think it's just going to bounce here and come back up again. We've already established that demand zone that we took here and rolled that position all the way up here. It's unlikely that it's going to do it 2 or 3 times in a row. So don't take another buy position here based on this. And we just let it play out. Price just kind of goes through, consolidates a little bit, and then we have a sell-off actually happen. Well, this probably would not have been a strong enough sell-off for me to mark it as a supply and demand trade, so we'll go ahead and leave that alone. If we did, for whatever reason, this could have been a sell position here and take it all the way down to here, but it's not very significant movement for me, so I would not have taken that trade. So let's keep going. We have a bottom created here. We do break these lows, and then price comes right back up and buys up. Nothing very clear for me to set up a demand zone for a buy position, so we just let it go on its way. Keeps going up here. We have a high created, and then we have a sell-off actually happen here. So here, from just this sell-off here, I'm looking for a supply zone to actually take a sell position. So at the very top here is going to be my supply level. Mark that all the way out. So what I'm waiting for is, after this long sell-off all the way to here, I'm looking for price to come all the way back up and then take a sell. Price doesn't do that in a relatively short amount of time, or at least what I would find to be a valid time frame for supply and demand to apply. We don't get that, and price just continues to go up. So this becomes irrelevant. We don't have a sell position to take. So price just becomes pretty choppy throughout here, comes back down to this low and rejects it and starts to move back up. So we have a new low created. We're looking for a future break if price wants to keep moving down. So let's see what happens. Price goes all the way up here, breaks this high, and then comes right back down. There's not really any significant information here to really take on a trade. I'm not sure if maybe this was possibly a news event that happened, but nothing clear here. So again, we're not at a support or resistance level from a major zone. We don't have a demand zone being set up. We don't have a supply zone being set up. So we just let price go and let it do what it needs to do. Consolidation, get a little bit of buy here, come back down, kind of just consolidating up and down this area here. So as you can see, this is pretty long-term consolidation going on. No breaks of these highs, no breaks of these lows, until I can almost guarantee this was news. This was on Thursday morning. Yeah, that was definitely news that caused this spike here. So just as a reminder, my technical analysis completely goes out of the window when news events happen. When news comes out, I'm usually out of the trade at least half an hour before, and I usually don't get back in the market or look for a position for at least an hour or 2 hours after the news event is released. So all of this behavior here is all missed. It's all irrelevant to me. I'm not trading it because it doesn't care about my technical analysis at that point. So Price comes all the way down here, a lot of rejection happens, and then we start to move back up. Unfortunately, all of this movement is missed, so I don't make anything off of that. But we come back into that consolidation zone again. It just corrected itself after that spike down. So, got a lot of buys going on here. We do break this high, create a new high here, so that's really nice. So let's see what happens. This area is a support level, at least temporarily, that we want to look for possibly taking buys at. Now, does it happen? No. It does hold up for a bit, and then we get quite a bit of buys going on here, right? So this is where I'm seeing a demand level being established. So after the buys, I'm taking that ride all the way up, and I'm waiting for price to come back down. Now, right when price comes back down, I'm looking for some rejections to take my buys. Unfortunately, again, we come into that demand zone, but we don't get the rejection to confirm a buy. So we don't take a buy. Let price do what it needs to do. Just kind of chops it up around here. And then we have quite a bit of sell-off going on here. So this is a very clear sign that we want to continue moving down. So my next zone that I'm looking at is this here. If price comes back up to this area and rejects, I'm looking for a sell. And as you can tell, we don't get that again. So there could be a lot of setups that you believe are being created, but if price doesn't come back to that zone that you established for yourself, if you don't get that confirmation, that rejection, that price wants to continue in the direction that you believe it's going, then you don't take a trade. It's that simple. Don't trick yourself into seeing things that are not there. Set up your rules, set up your zones, and if price goes into it and confirms that it's rejecting it, then trade it. If it doesn't, don't trade it. Keep it simple. Keep moving. So all the rest of this is pretty much irrelevant. There's nothing clear to trade off of this. This is all, yeah, it's going down, but there's nothing in my technical analysis that tells me that this would keep going down. So outside of that, no valid trade. So that's it as far as the week of the Aussie dollar here. So we had a few different zones created that we were looking for trades, but it didn't happen because we didn't get the confirmations. So let's move back and see what we won off of this one here. This past week, we had a 36 pips, we had a 24 pips, or about 50 pips winner there, and then we did have that loser at the beginning of 12 pips. So we're back down to about 38 pips for the week on that pair. And that's about it. Just 3 simple trades, 1 loser, 2 winners. That's all we got that week. So again, if you guys are interested in learning how I trade, my technical analysis, very basic information, no indicators as you can see, just a simple price on the chart, support and resistance level, and then I'm looking for my supply and demand levels or trading off of the major support and resistance levels. That's all. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys want to watch more content like this, and make sure you hit that notification bell. That way you're notified of the uploads. If you are interested in learning the trading techniques, the rules, the risk management, the strategies that I apply on a daily basis for the pairs that at least that I monitor, check out SyllaFX.com. The course is available there, and you can join the SyllaFX student community as well, where you can join me in live market analysis and the live trading sessions that I will host on Fridays during the New York session. Now again, I'm going to say this every video, this is not a signals group. This is not a signals channel. I don't tell you what to trade, when to trade it. This channel and the course is to teach you how to trade based on the information or the analysis that I use, the technical strategies that I use, the rules, the risk management, anything that I use to psychologically help me trade and be consistently profitable is available in the course. This is to teach you how to trade, not to follow somebody else's trade and just copy their trades. We don't do signals, we do education. So if you guys are interested in that, check out SyllaFX.com. Outside of that, that's all we got on this analysis for the Aussie dollar. 2 winners, 1 loser. Thanks for watching.